We've talked about governance at this company. Did the Times story do anything to accentuate that?
It confirmed our worst nightmare, which is you basically have one or two individuals who feel that they don't have to report to the board and reveal information like Russian investigations and perhaps withholding that information from the board for a year. And I think Ms. Sandberg and Mr. Zuckerberg have to start thinking about separating the responsibilities of this large company so that we have a CEO and we have a chair of the board and we start having some oversight at Facebook. This has now, I think, gotten to a point where even the most sympathetic Facebook supporter realized there has to be change.
Board put out a statement saying the suggestion they hid anything was grossly unfair. So you're not getting through to the board, at least not yet.
Well, things are moving in a direction where I believe they're going to have to take stock and ultimately own this situation. You can't think that share owners are not going to keep demanding answers when the board did not have any knowledge, according to the Times, that there's a Russian investigation going on. This is something that the whole country is talking about, and Facebook has to own up to it. Now, what's the best practice? You separate the chair from the CEO. There are two different responsibilities. Somebody has got to oversee the work of Mr. Zuckerberg and Ms. Sandberg. And by the way, I agree with Senator Warner. We're not trying to kneecap a company. We're trying to bring this company into a 21st century governance structure so they can succeed. And what's my agenda? I got to get a return for teachers, cops, firefighters, the people who I represent in a public pension fund.
But do you think that would really actually happen? I mean, how likely is that to happen at this company? Zuckerberg has control. He's the chairman, he's the CEO, he's the founder, and he's basically made it clear that that's not going to change anytime soon as far as he's concerned.
Well, that's today, but as you know, a lot of change comes over time. And I think the case is building every single day. The Times investigation, I think, was very damaging to the reputation. And I think today's, we don't want to see stocks fall. We want to see prices go up, not down. But I think the board at some point has to sit down and say, look, we have to take some action that will actually make Facebook more valuable. And also, by the way, they have to answer for some of their conduct. They're hiring companies that are going after George Soros. I mean, apologize to George Soros today. I mean, how do you not issue a statement and say, oh, we made a mistake? This is no accountability.
Scott, it seems to me that if Facebook separates the chairman and CEO roles, Zuckerberg's the chairman, and Sandberg's the CEO. They've done it. Does that really solve the problem? I mean, a lot of companies have done this. At Oracle, Larry Ellison is the executive chairman. He's got a couple of CEOs. He still runs the company. When you have a controlled company like this, does that go far enough, or does there need to be some other measure in place to give the kind of accountability you want for your shareholders?
Well, look, I can't micromanage that company, but I can tell you this. You got some independent directors on that board. Start acting like independent directors. And if that really is the solution, well, maybe that doesn't pass the smell test. But something must change. We've been saying this for months and months. And when you do have separation, you have best practice, and you have companies that do better. But right now, they're starting to get themselves caught up in the scandal game, and it's starting to show.
Advertisers have given little indication that they're unnerved by this the way some investors are. Are you getting any different sense?
Look, there are people who think the Trump presidency is going in the right direction, and we just had a corrective midterm elections that say that may not be the case. So I'm a long-term investor, but I also think long-term politically. You don't have to win today. You have to make a case to share owners. You have to make a case to the board, and ultimately to Mr. Zuckerberg, who I've always said is someone I admire, who built a company and should be congratulated for that. But with a big company comes great responsibility. It's about national security. It's about civil rights issues within the company, and the case continues to build.
Okay, quickly, bottom line. Any of this going to make you or cause you to sell or reduce your stake in Facebook?
No, our job is not to get out of companies. Our job is to stay and make sure these companies create the rate of return that I need to do my job.